Man, there's so much going on right now. Earnings season in full bloom. And yes, I was surprised by those Google numbers. I'd be worried if I were you. Analyze that. I'll cover that on Frankly Speaking, get a lot of questions on it. And I know the protocol is to basically buy every large cap technology company, especially the FANGs that decline in value. Be careful with Google. I'll explain why on Frankly Speaking podcast. But in the middle of earnings season, lots of fun. We also had Arya Stark killing the Night King and saving the Seven Kingdoms. Holy cow. That episode of Game of Thrones was awesome this week. I love that show. Man, it was really cool. They were just showing it when it happened. Again, hopefully it's not a spoiler alert. You should have seen it by now, though. If you're a fan, you had to see it by now. If not, too bad for you. I'm going to spoil it, but it was really cool. They were showing like 1,000 people watching it as soon as it happened, and it's like people going crazy. But yeah, all this stuff going. You got the NBA playoffs going on right now where, I don't know, when did the Eastern Conference become more exciting than the Western Conference? And Kawhi Leonard, Embiid, Simmons, Greek Freak, Kyrie Irving. Man, those Eastern Conference playoff games have been awesome thus far. While West Coast, Houston, Golden State, just like complaining to the refs, trying to draw fouls on every three-pointer they shoot, kind of boring and ridiculous. But and then you have the hockey playoffs, and my hockey fans out there always emailing me, and I'm a Rangers fan, but I could feel for the Islanders. I mean, when I was growing up, we hated each other. Ranger Islanders fans hated each other. And going to a Ranger game is like worse than Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, if you had a Ranger game and someone had an Islanders shirt, people just like throw sodas at the guy as he's walking around. It was really crazy when I was younger. But, Islanders have been kind of non-existent. And now they're almost favored to win after the first round sweep. But they lost 2 games after missing like 7 open net shots. It was just crazy. And then going into the next game. But, Carolina looks pretty good here. Bruins, Blue Jackets, that series is awesome. Avalanche, Sharks, you have San Jose, Dallas. Again, just so much going on. Throwing the fact that I'm heading to Vancouver after this podcast. Meet some investors for Curzio equity owners and a token offering. But, so much going on. And then in a couple of weeks, we have Mother's Day, which is on May 12th. So definitely don't forget that. It's probably worse than forgetting your anniversary because moms like to know they're appreciated, especially my daughter's mom, who really does a ton. I mean, probably works even harder than me and is incredible. But you know what? I want to share a story with you really quick. I love sharing personal stories with you, but I wanted to get your advice on this because I had an interesting conversation with my wife, and it was about getting cards for each other over the holidays, whether it's your birthday, your anniversary, whatever, Mother's Day, Father's Day. But I never knew this about her. I don't know why I never knew this, but my wife told me that she likes to buy cards in bulk. So she'll go to the store and buy them at the same time. So it's like, hey, let me get 5 anniversary cards, 5 birthday cards, cards for all the birthdays and stuff like that. And I'm not known as a sensitive guy. Maybe I'm a little bit sensitive sometimes. But I thought the fact that she buys cards in bulk was kind of wrong. I mean, when I had this conversation with her, she thought I was coming out of left field. Maybe we just switched roles. I have no idea. Because for me, when you're buying your spouse a car, it's personal. Especially when you're buying, not just your spouse or your mom. It's that personal card. And so much happens every single year. Especially when you're married, right? I mean, sometimes you have good years and sometimes you have rough years. That's marriage. And one of our rough years a couple of years ago when I had my back surgery, my wife found out she had breast cancer and, she's cancer-free now. We got surgery within a month of each other. It was a difficult year, and every single year is different because so much happens. And it's when you're married, it's almost like, hey, I can't believe we survived another year. I'm just kidding. But seriously, when I buy a card for my wife, it has a lot to do with what happened over the past few months. So I buy a card and I look and I read them, and again, I feel like we're switching roles here a little bit. For example, last year, you guys know how busy I was into this year, right? I launched my security token offering. I was working, 15-hour days, literally 7 days a week, going crazy. And she was doing so much with the kids. She really held the fort down. She was very understanding. And she knew I was trying to do something that really was never done before. So it required all my attention. And it was, steep learning curve. Combine that with operating a business, following markets every day, writing newsletters, hosting 2 podcasts. It was like a 6 to 8 month period where it's insane. So for me, in our anniversary, I would find a card that encapsulates what, we went through for the year and saying, hey, I really appreciate you being there for me, whatever. But my wife, buying a bunch of generic cards at the same time, and then she'll write like something nice in them, but still, I I don't know how you would buy cards in advance. I mean, am I coming out of left field with this? But this was like a really debatable conversation, and not that it bothered me a ton, but we had this conversation. She was viewing it like I was crazy, and for me, I thought, hey, come on, you can never tell your wife face to face that she's wrong. So I didn't want to say you're totally wrong or whatever, but it was a debate back and forth. But I'm curious to hear from you because for the first time in over 10 years that I'm married, probably close to 12 now, I think I'm right on something when it comes to my wife, at least in her view. I think I'm right on this one, but I want to hear from you guys. FrankKerseyResearch.com. And look, I love sharing my personal stories with you because it just shows that, one, it's therapy. It's great, guys. You should have your own podcast. It's great just to get everything out. But two, look, I'm just a regular guy just like you guys. You listen to me behind the scenes. A lot of you haven't seen me. Maybe you saw me at conferences and stuff like that. But we all go through the same shit. We all have the same problems. We all, go back and forth with the kids and the wives and the husbands and stuff like that. And I just like to get real with you, especially in the opening, because I feel like so many of you guys are family. And plus, you guys have given me great advice when it comes to family and wife and marriage and stuff like that over the years. That's why I want to get your thoughts on it at FrankKerseyResearch.com.